The arrival of Tim Vickery, and we'll take any questions you have on players you've been linked with. We'll try and cover some of them now. There's a few obvious ones. talkSPORT.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J. That's TSHANDJ. Let's cross to Rio. Good afternoon, Tim.
Afternoon. I'm going to try and keep the next few minutes above the waistband. None of this trousers business.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think you spend 17 quid on your trousers. You always look $1 million.
No.
Look $1 million, Tim. So let's first talk about Lionel Messi not being in the Argentina squad for the World Cup qualifiers. Not so much the end of an era because he's got an injury, or is this telling, you think?
Well, I wonder, a little bit like Del Shannon. I'm doing a lot of wondering about this because we saw him in one for the kids, obviously. We saw him in the Copa America, and Argentina won it, and he had some great moments, but he clearly wasn't the player that he has been. And it's sad, but we're coming towards the end, and there's no Angel Di Maria in this squad either. He's retired from international football. So it is a little bit of a sad glimpse for the future. I don't know how long Messi is gonna go on. And he's had injury problems, and he's found them hard to shake off. He's 37 now, and I suppose when they're at home to Chile and then they're away to Colombia, and away to Colombia is really, really tough. It's a replay of the final of the Copa America a month or so ago, and I suppose it does give Argentina a chance to have a look at a future without Messi. I think probably the obvious thing that they'll do is play Julian Alvarez in the Messi role. Enabling them to play Lautaro Martinez from the start. That's big boots to fill for Alvarez, but I think that's probably the way that they'll go, especially because they haven't included Dybala either, who's often been seen as a kind of Messi reserve. And well, we got more World Cup qualifiers in October and November, so I don't think it's the end quite yet for Messi, but at some point he's going to have to make a decision on whether or not he thinks he can do himself justice in the next World Cup.
Oh, he'll play in the next World Cup. Don't worry about that, even if he doesn't play in the qualifiers. Your Del Shannon joke was a runaway success.
There we are. Don't you start, Andy.
Oh, we'll have to keep searching for something better than that.
I'm sure Argentinian football fans are chuffed that Alvarez has gone to Atletico because it means he's going to get more game time. He'll hopefully be sharper when he plays for the country.
Yeah, and you got to remember with Alvarez that when he went over, he wasn't a promise. He was already a reality. He was the best player in Argentine football. He was collecting titles, and so it's obviously been a little bit frustrating for him, being maybe an option, being a very useful option, and Diego Simeone can offer him something where he's more important. And despite that baby-faced look of Alvarez, I think there's a seriously ambitious young man there. So we will see what happens, and also with Conor Gallagher, and if you're a central midfielder and you got a chance to play under Diego Simeone, that's a real learning experience, And I'm expecting that Simeone will get him to run better, run more effectively. He's got fabulous lung power, and I think Simeone will channel that. And it could be, it wasn't what Conor Gallagher wanted, we're led to understand, but it could be a good opportunity, a good learning experience for him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
He wanted to stay at Chelsea. Pochettino loved him, and I gather you're taking the credit for Poch getting the job as the USA coach.
Oh, well done, Tim.
I am, yeah. I'm taking all the credit, although I haven't had any kickbacks so far. Okay. Pochettino and his staff, they can get in touch with me via talkSPORT Towers. Yeah, and the story is the following. One of my clients in the States, ESPN, after it became clear they would be making a change of coach following group phase elimination in the Copa America, they got in touch and they said, we're doing a piece on possible replacements for Greg Berhalter, possible new US coaches. Do you want to be involved? And they gave me a list of the people who'd already been named. And I had a think, and I thought, you know what? Pochettino fits this. And usually a coach of his caliber wants to be in the club game, But after spending a few years with Daniel Levy, then the ego factory that is Paris Saint-Germain, then the chaos which is Chelsea, and you could be excused for thinking, you know what, I want to rest from this for a little while. I want a little bit of stability, a job where I can stay 2 years. I think there's a good group of young players there, and he works very, very well with young players. The big friendly bear thing, I think, works. I think he's got a group of players who are capable of playing the way that he wants to play. So I did a little thing on why it would be a good fit. Now, I am told that at that point, the US Federation hadn't considered him. Wow. After this, Mauricio Pochettino's people got in touch with him. Now, I'm not claiming for a minute that Mauricio Pochettino wastes his time reading my articles, but you never know. You never know. But anyway, I managed to put the pieces together, and good luck with the US, because I think that's something that could work.
Yeah, I do too. He's a good manager.
Just going back to Argentina, Martinez in the last hour signed a contract extension at Villa until 2029. And when you kind of watched him, sort of knocking around at Oxford United and Rotherham and Getafe and Reading on loan, it has been some turnaround in his career, hasn't it?
It has. I was really surprised when the Arsenal bought him. It was soon after he'd played in the Under-17 World Cup, and he looked big shot stopper, but he let in a goal every game because he couldn't jump. He was carrying too much weight, and he was very, very raw. And we saw that at Arsenal. At Arsenal, he stayed for long enough almost to qualify for a pension without ever getting in the first team. But he worked and they worked. I think English football can take a lot of credit for him. I know he's got that Argentine temperament and he loves bringing that to the fore. But in terms of the technical development of his game and the physical development that he's made, he is a product, I think, of English football. You wondered a while back, he told an Argentine journalist a year ago that he might be thinking of moving on. The fact that Villa have made such progress means that he wants to stay, and no doubt about it, that's a huge gain for Villa to be able to have him. On a longer contract. Before we
get back to the racing, couple of quickies. Ugarte to Manchester United seems to be moving on apace. The Uruguayan defensive midfielder. Do you think it's a good fit, Tim?
I do, yeah, especially after watching United on Friday, when they were so open again to the Fulham counter-attack. We're lucky not to concede to that Fulham counter-attack. That's the hole that he'll be expected to plug. Defensive midfielder, screening the midfield, also getting moves going with crisp passes. He does remind me a lot of a young version of Javier Mascherano, and I think this is a good fit. This whole transfer window has been a game of poker between United and Paris Saint-Germain, but it would seem to be moving in the direction of Ugarte moving to United and trying to plug that hole.
Ollie, just very quickly, Ollie is a Leicester fan. He's hoping Yasser Asprilla moves from Watford to Leicester, and he's been linked with Arsenal and one or two other teams.
Colombian
as well. Colombian, yeah. What do we know of him, Tim?
He's really talented. He's a little bit of a lightweight, perhaps, but he's a lovely left foot. He's also been linked with moves away from England, and that might be better for him in a less physical football. But he's certainly, I think he's had enough of Watford. And as I spent a couple of hours there with a train delay the other day when I was back, I'm inclined to agree with him. I want to see him, if he's not going to be important to Watford, I want to see him go somewhere, because I think there's a real talent there.
And in 30 seconds, Andre at Fluminense to Fulham has become the new Leandro Damião to Tottenham many years ago. So what's going on? You reckon Manchester United could even be in the frame now? Is that
possibly, right? if they give up on the Ugarte negotiations. Fluminense got through to the quarterfinals last night in the Libertadores, but at the end of the game, Andre's kind of disconsolate on the field, trying to soak up the atmosphere, and it looked very, very much of a player who is going to have to move for financial reasons. Fulham, it's been a long one for Fulham. There could be a late bid for United, but it looks like whatever happens, he's moving out of Fluminense.
Nice one, Tim. We'll catch up with you next week.
Look forward to it. Cheers.
There we are. There's Tim Vickery with the very latest in the world of South American football. There you go, Ollie. If you can get him signed up, you've got a player.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.